Hey everybody, it's Eric with What's in the Box, and we're continuing the Texas Horror Lit Fest author interviews. And tonight we have Brad Ricks with us. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Almost sounded professional. You should. I don't know if you saw the one that I put out today that I did with Megan yet.
No, I haven't a
But
chance to
it
watch it.
it literally sounds like I'm having a stroke in the introduction. I get nothing right, and there's long pauses of me trying to figure out what's going on, kind of stuff. So I'm a little happy. I shouldn't have probably not brought attention to it, but I was happy with that one. So
Hey, there's on the podcast that I have, there's been a number of times when I go to announce the author, I'm like, and today I have with me, and then I completely mispronounce her name. And I'm like, that was wrong, wasn't it? And they're like, yeah, but I'm like, screw it, I'm not cutting it. I'm like, it's funny. So I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
right.
roll with
Yeah.
it.
That's kind of what I did. I was just like, you know what? I could go back and fix all this and she would have been fine with it, but just let it go.
Eh,
I mean,
It's
it's part of what makes me me, I guess. So just keep
it's
going.
life, it's live, it's real, I mean,
Yeah.
some people enjoy.
Um, I think we met for the first time at Texas Author and Reader Con last year. Am I right? Was that the
Uh
first time we ran into each other?
I think actually the year before that when it was Texas AuthorCon at the
Was it?
hotel.
Okay,
Yeah.
very cool.
I didn't have a booth. My first book had only just come out, and so I went as just kind of scouting out, like what the hell do I actually put on a table?
Right.
And so I was walking around. I met, you know, you and Malfi and Matt and Chris and the whole gang.
Yeah, gotta do a couple. Yeah, that's smart though. It's smart to swing by and do some recon to kind of figure out how you want to set up and what looks good and what doesn't look good and what works.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
um much better than just kind of winging it and hoping. So which,
Yeah.
you know, some people can do that. I'd prefer to have a little bit of idea of what's going on. So um
Same. I'm a research nut, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go and see what people. I remember going walking around taking pictures and coming home and telling my wife, I was like, look, we got to spend money.
yeah, I
Um,
know, right? The one thing that my wife hates is when I say, "Hey, I saw something cool at the table." Nah, that's all right. She's like, I don't need to hear about it. You don't need to think about it. I'm like, all right. So
Your setup is fine. Leave it alone.
I know I get that a lot from her. I'm always tinkering. I'm sure there's probably two or three boxes of stuff that I've got that I thought would work that I decided didn't work.
Oh
And
yeah.
she's probably tired of all that too. So,
Yeah, I know. I
um,
now have it to where I have enough stuff that I'm like, okay, is it just like, do I have a 6 foot table? Do I have an 8 foot table? Am I in an L? Am I in a U? I was like, just let me know configuration because I got crap for it.
I know, right? I'm always thinking of that now. I'm like, oh, okay. When you see that when you're signing up and they give you all these different options and you start, doing the math. What can I get away with here? What can I, what do I need to do? What's the bare minimum I can do? All that
Right.
nonsense and stuff. So, um, but let's get right into it. We'll dive right
All
into the
right.
first question. The question that's most important. Is it Freddie, Jason, or Michael?
Oh, Michael.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm Team
definitely
Jason.
Michael.
So I will now let you state your case. Win me over.
Oh, I just one. I mean, he's like the original. I mean, I mean, Halloween was what gave birth to all of them. So, so there's that, and just that the unstoppable force. It didn't
Mhm.
matter what happened to him. He kept coming, and I mean, the whole franchise. Yeah, I mean, it's had its reboots. Every one of them have.
Mhm.
And but when his went off the rails, it did so, but like still kind of held true. At least it wasn't like Jason who was like in New York punching the heads off of people, or ending up in space. I mean,
You're getting there. Borderline sacrilege here. Come on.
yeah. Now, and
He,
so there was some element of, I don't want to say realism because none of that crap has realism to it, but
right.
at least with Michael Myers, there was like a little bit of like, okay, if he's just a psychopath that feels no pain, then he just keeps coming is what he
Mhm.
does, and so you could somewhat rationalize something with him, um, compared to some of the others
I get that. Do you have a favorite?
of the movies.
Yeah.
The first one, that good, nice classic, just I mean, between the soundtrack and how John Carpenter filmed it, it's just, um yeah, I mean, just the first one. I got a chance to meet Nick Castle not that long ago too, and so I got a nice picture with him, and
That's the guy that played Michael, right?
yeah, yeah, he
Yeah.
played Michael, yeah,
Um,
and so yeah, so I'm, the original one is one I love, that I very much enjoy watching it. So
very cool. I think it matters for a lot of people which one did they see first.
yeah,
If they saw Halloween first, that's their. And you know, it's funny. So I'm sitting here shitting on it, and I mean, I got the damn shirt
I know,
on.
right?
I'm wearing it, you know,
You're
and
wearing a Halloween shirt. Hey, I got a Monster Squad shirts on, so
oh, there you go, awesome. So, but I was, you know, my first introduction was Friday the 13th Part Two, just the end. I caught that as a
mm.
very young kid on cable, you know, sneaking when my parents were outside. I'm
Late night
like,
TBS or TNT
yeah,
something. Yeah.
and just still in a couple minutes, the ending, you know, so that scarred me for a little bit. And of course, Nightmare was my first. I remember watching that like at 8 or 9, and I was alone in the house, and
Oh,
so and
nice.
they were out, you know, weekend party thing. Parents do that kind of stuff, go play cards or whatever. And
Hmm.
back when I was a kid, you just left your kid at home.
Oh
And
yeah.
so I turned on TMC and they were premiering Nightmare. And when they got home, every light was on in the house. And I was trying not to explain what the issue was. But yeah,
You're
that one
you're on
terrified
your
me.
third Coke of the night, and you're like, I'm
Right.
not sleeping.
Yeah, ever again. So, but yeah, no. And
It's
so
one,
what's
two,
funny
Freddy's
though,
coming for you.
I prefer Halloween 2, which is weird. When I watch the movies, I mean, I get why everybody loves the first one, but
Hmm.
I like the flow of the second one a little better, and I'm a huge fan of the third one. I wish it was an anthology series.
So yeah, and so I was actually funny. I was actually at a dinner a little bit ago, and we got to talking about horror movies. And the third one, I think gets a bad rap, but I think it's more of ahead of its time. You look at like what American Horror Story did with
Hmm.
every season being a different story. That's what they wanted Halloween to be. And but with having the first, one and two being with Michael Myers, when the third one came out, and they were like, "Oh, hey, where's Michael Myers?" And it's like, "Well, no, it's supposed to be, it's going to be a different story, and and everybody's like, "No, I want Michael back."
Yeah, and you could tell. I mean, 100% too is a cash grab. You know, to the
Hmm.
point where even Carpenter's like, well, yeah, I'll produce it, but I'm not going to waste my time rehashing the same movie. I want
Right.
to, and I totally get him doing that, but if that, just imagine we could be on Halloween episode, movie 50, and if they would have just kept it going as anthology stuff.
Right.
But yeah, no, I just love Jason. So Jason's my guy. I will always be in his corner. But I understand the people that love Michael, and I understand why. What's your thoughts on the zombies version
Of which one of
of Halloween? Do you
Rob Zombie's version.
yeah,
I'm sorry, when you said zombies, I was like, wait, he never became a zombie. What are you talking about?
that'd be funny.
Oh,
Yeah, we're fan
um,
fiction now. We're doing fan
right. And now
fiction
we're doing fan
talks.
fiction. Yes. So, watch out for the short story collaboration between Eric and Brad in regards to Michael Myers being a zombie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So zombies, Rob Zombie's version. So I, all in all, I liked it. I didn't like how much backstory we had with Michael.
Hmm.
Like that's part to me. That's part of the appeal. Was just like he's just like you see him as a kid, and he just kills his sister, and then the next thing you know, now we flash forward, was it 20 years or something? And so I was like, I know he wanted like this whole build up and the what's what the whole reasoning behind and all that, and but I don't think it needed it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I think if he was making a standalone movie, like he was creating his new monster, a new serial killer,
Yeah,
people would love this. I think the fact that they stamp Michael Myers on it, it ruins a lot of the mythos in it, and I could see why fans were upset with it.
yeah.
But I was just curious because some people love both of them, and
Mhm.
they don't say a word. So,
And I agree. I think if it was a standalone, like it wasn't a Halloween, it was just that's the it's origin story to this slasher,
mhm.
then it would have been fine. But that was like I said, to me, part of that whole what made the first Halloween is like you're in the kid's head, and, or through the mask, you're in
Mhm.
his eyes, and he goes and he kills his sister, and then the parents are like, Michael, what happened? And they take the mask off, and and it's a kid, And like there is no build up. It's just like that's congratulations, you just started watching, a boy kill his sister. And there was no, you know, ramp up to it. There was no
Right.
no teaser. It was like this is like within the first 5 minutes, you know what you're in store for.
Yeah, I'm with you. And there's something even more terrifying by not understanding the monster. It's just a force of nature, or however you want to put it. Once you start breaking it down and then trying to make them sympathetic,
You
I
try to
think
start
it,
rationalizing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
none of that's supposed to be. That's the whole point of Jason and Michael. It's not really rational.
Well,
Um,
and that's like Donald Pleasance's character. Whenever he talks, he's like, I looked into his eyes. There was nothing but pure evil behind it. There was, it's
mhm.
like he's trying to say like there is no reason why. It's just he is just what he is.
Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, then you get the problem when they try and peel it back a little bit and give us a little bit more. And so, yeah, like I said, I can understand why people that are diehards from the original stuff turned on him. Um, Next up, we got, do you have a favorite cryptid or creature?
Um, so creature. I mean, I mean, I love my creature features.
Hmm.
So if you're talking things like, you mean like monster, like werewolf kind of stuff, or
Sure.
that?
Yeah. Anything you
Oh,
want it to be.
so
When I
I
say cryptid, people usually focus on like three characters.
like
So I say
Bigfoot
creature
and
as well. Yeah. So I
yeah.
say creature too, just in case, some kind of monster, something that you might really gravitate towards.
So I mean I'm based upon the series that I do, I'm obviously a vampire fan, but for this I would probably lean more toward, talking about werewolves because
Hmm.
that's kind of with the new one I have coming out in July, it's werewolves. So I've been doing a lot of werewolf stuff, and so that's probably right now that's more my favorite. I'm enjoying the werewolf stuff.
Do you have a favorite movie or book with werewolves that kind of, cement the reason why?
Um I don't know if I've no one that would be like cementing the reason why. I mean, I have some favorite werewolf movies. Like
Sure.
American Werewolf in London is so good. Um, I'm I also love the original Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr.
Oh yeah, I love
And
that.
yeah, and one thing that um, and I've had some conversations with folks about it is like with the werewolf, and I think it started with Lon Chaney in that um, the the werewolf is a sometimes very sympathetic character. Like you take a Michael or a Jason or a vampire or something like that. It's like they kill and they do it and they love it and that's what they do. But the werewolf, a lot of times the person it turns it into it. He has no control of what he
Hmm.
does, and so the the person who is the werewolf in a lot of movies is just as much a victim as the victims that the werewolf itself takes.
Right, 100%. I find those movies more interesting than the ones where the werewolf is 100% in.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I love being a werewolf and I'm killing everything. I mean, those
Well,
can be fun, but I think
like
when
Silver
you,
Bullet was one where I mean the priest
yeah,
knew he was a werewolf, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen Silver Bullet, it's been out for like 30 years, so who cares. But yeah, I mean he knew he was, and like that's what he did. But
yeah,
yeah, those that were like like American Werewolf in London or the original Wolfman, or even go back to like Monster Squad, where when the guy gets shot and the first thing he says is thank you, and then he dies.
hmm, yeah, 100%. The werewolf is a much more sympathetic character. Um, uh, and and the dynamics. I think that's what makes the Wolfman himself, those movies, all of them, even the newer ones, um, fun. Is just to see how they deal with the curse, and then if they embrace it or go try and get out of it, which they almost
Hmm.
always try and get out of it when in the
Right.
Wolfman stuff. So I'm going to assume that you prefer werewolves that are kind of humanoid in shape. Is that those you prefer those more, or it doesn't matter? Either one's
Um,
fine.
that so much doesn't matter.
Okay.
I mean, because even you go back American Werewolf in London.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
goes to a full werewolf
he goes
or
very much
wolf.
full werewolf. Yeah, and I mean, that movie alone. I mean, the practical effects in that thing is so great.
Oh yeah, 100%. That movie could suck, which it doesn't, but the
No.
effects would carry it because it's
Oh
so
yeah.
amazing. And especially when you think at the time, which is part of the reason why I think I always gravitated towards werewolves just because I'm fascinated by special effects and stuff in movies. And so when they were doing those practical effects, I'm trying to figure out how the heck you could do that.
The bladders and the under
Yeah.
and yeah, all the latex and the yeah.
Yeah, which is why now when I get a movie 9 out of 10 times, it's because I wanted to see the special features and how they did it back then, not the
Hmm.
movie itself, because I've seen it a bazillion times.
Oh
So, but
yeah.
yeah, no, the Howling had really good change, and
Hmm.
you know, I don't like the CGI changes as much, but I understand why they do them because a little
Yep.
quicker, a little easier. But you can really usually tell when it's CGI. But yeah, practical werewolves are fun. So, um, is there a book or an author or a series or something that might that you would say, hey, this is the reason I write this stuff?
Um, so I mean, like probably most of us, I mean, Stephen King was always a big, huge influence, and so a lot of the kind of horror I write, I try to represent that, to an extent.
Hmm.
Um, I'm also a big Poe fan, and so I try to, incorporate environment and scenery a lot because he always in just the few pages of the short stories that he had, the the setting itself is so much a character in the story.
Hmm.
Whether it's the fall of the House of Usher, which is, I mean, the house is pseudo alive, or the Telltale Heart. It's so enclosed in that room that it's you feel the setting,
Yeah.
and so things like that. I try to um, I try to do homage to that as best I can. And so part of, I mean, so those kind of influences are, kind of why I write the way I do.
Yeah, that's great. What's your favorite King book?
So my favorite is probably The Stand, although I hate the ending. Um, Ones that I love that, I mean, the ending is decent. Like Needful Things, that it was one that is a favorite I have. Pet Cemetery is a favorite. But I mean, probably The Stand is kind of like my all time, just because the more than just there's just the story that, I mean, it's this whole epic tale that's going on.
And I mean, you can be forgiven for not liking an ending. He hasn't known how to end a book, I don't think. I mean, rarely did he ever hit a
Right.
good ending. So,
Well, so like I think Needful Things is a good exception to that. Like I like the way he ended that, where at the end, what was it Leland gone? Yeah, he's just like, all right, deuces, and just gone. He's just
yeah.
the town's in flames, and he's just like, hey, I'm out of here.
The reason I'm smiling is because that's the Stephen King book that ended Stephen King for me. So,
Oh, was
uh,
Needful Things?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I thought it was an amazing book when I started it, and by the time I got about 100 pages from being done. I thought, nope, to put it down.
no.
So I'm gonna have to pay. And that was 20 years ago too. So I mean, it's been a while.
Mhm.
It's one of those weird things, where I'm like, that's it. I haven't read any Stephen King after that he published after that. I will go
Mm.
back and reread the early ones, but maybe I need a couple people have told me I need to give Needful Things another chance. Um, I just was so turned off by what he was going towards at the end that
Mm.
I stopped. And that could totally be an age thing too. Because like I
True.
said, I was probably a late teenager when I was reading it. So as an old man now, I might totally change my mind and appreciate it. But I do know quite a few people, Heather Larson, yourself,
Mhm.
that consider it one of his better things. So,
Well, and
but
it is interesting how, rereading books, how things change based upon where you are in life,
mhm.
your you just kind of how you have changed over time. Pet Cemetery is a great example. I first read it when I was um probably younger than I was supposed to be, but
As
I
we all were at some
as we
point.
all were, yeah,
Yeah.
that's why we write and we're all messed up. But you read it then, and yeah, it's scary and Gage is, and all this stuff. But then, like as an adult, being a father and rereading it, the scene where Gage is running towards the road is like one of the most heart-wrenching scenes. Now,
Yeah.
the first time I read it as a kid, I'm like, oh my God, that's terrible. But it has a wholly different effect when you're a parent and now you're reading that
Hmm.
because you connect so much with the parents and you're like, oh my God, and you almost feel like, how would I feel in that situation kind of thing. And
Yeah, for
it
sure.
hits different, all based upon, your own life experiences and where you are in life.
Yeah, I think The Shining's the same way. If
Mm.
you read it when you're younger, you might look at Jack one way, and then when you're older, you might start kind of saying, "Oh, I get it." Yeah, you know, I would do the same thing with a mallet. You know what I mean? So you just never know. It's just where you are in life and how
Yeah,
you're
true.
dealing with everything. So, but yeah, no, that is a skill that he King has. And it's an amazing one where his books seem to take a life of their own depending on where you are in life. So, and that's kind of a pretty cool talent of his. So, which is
Very
probably
true.
why he is the king. So, I mean,
Yeah, and
what else
he is
can
who
we
he
say?
is, right?
So, shifting to the event,
Okay.
Texas Horror Lit Fest,
Mhm.
June 27th, June 28th. What can people expect at your table? Does you got
S-
anything new coming out, or is this just let us know your
s-
titles and all that good stuff?
so I'll definitely have all my normal titles. So I'll have Fear Not the Dead, which is the psychological thriller that I have that's set in a haunted house. And so I'll have that one. That was my debut that first came out. I'll also have one of the crowd favorites, My To Hell with Hallmark. And so I'll have that one around. Of
Favorite in the
course, I'll.
household?
What's that?
Favorite? I said a favorite in the Butler household. We
You've
have the
enjoyed that one?
shirt. We have the shirt and the
Yep.
book, so it's beloved by all.
Awesome, awesome. And then I'll definitely have Night Crew 1 and 2, because those have been out. I am, fingers crossed, going to have early, can only get it at Texas Horror Lit Fest versions of Night Crew 3.
Sweet.
I am begging Crystal Lake to, please have these ready so that, because it doesn't actually launch, it technically launches July 3rd, so like a week later.
Hmm.
And so I'm really hoping to get some copies ahead of time so that I can have like a Texas Horror Lit Fest exclusive, get it here before you can get it on Amazon kind of thing.
That's cool. Yeah, that's a great way of doing it. That's fun if it can. I mean, sometimes
It,
the stars don't align. I
I
totally
am,
get that, but
I
if it
am
does, that'd
knocking
be
on
fun.
wood, and yeah,
Yeah.
everything. I think everything is wrapped in good. Um, I had, proofreaders who and some ARC readers who, they of course find misspellings because I mean we're human and it's 65,000 words. Some of them is going to be wrong,
Hmm.
and so I think we got all those cleaned up, and I've about 2 weeks or so weeks ago, got a good version of a PDF that I was like, this looks great. Let's run with it. So knocking on wood. So I'm uh, about every other day I'm messaging. I'm like, so are we good?
Yeah, I know,
So
right? Now
yeah.
it's the waiting game, and you got to go through all that stuff. And you never know when Amazon's going to be cool or it's going to decide to have a problem. So, or
Right.
whoever's Ingram
Right.
printing
Yeah.
this stuff.
Usually I usually do my paperbacks through Ingram, and
Yeah.
then of course it'll be on Amazon. But it comes out July 3rd. So like I said, with Litfest being like a week before, I'm fingers crossed.
Well, hopefully it'll be there. That'll be cool. I love to see. I love to see it. You got great covers,
Oh,
and
they
like
are
we talked
beautiful.
earlier, great setup at the table. One of the best tables to go see at any event. So,
Oh,
I
thanks.
suggest everyone swing by Brad's, check it out. I don't know. I assume you'll have some of your shirts up too.
I'll have my shirts. I'll have yeah, I have a handful of different shirts. I have one that's a Read More Horror shirt. So if you don't know my stuff, but you like reading horror, then come by and get a Read More Horror shirt. I'll have my To Hell with Hallmark t-shirt with a nice little gingerbread man waving on it. Um, let's see, I have one for my podcast. So because I also have the Night Crew podcast, so I'll have a t-shirt for it. And then I have one that's got the little monster on the front of Night Crew 2. So
Oh, cool.
I have a white shirt. So you don't usually see a lot of horror shirts that are in
That's
white.
true. That's
So this
true.
one's a white shirt that has that creature on the front of it.
Very
Um,
cool.
and so I'll have those there. I'll also have it's just normal little knick-knacky stuff. I have keychains. I have little ornaments for it's got the little gingerbread man for Tale with Hallmark, and I mean bookmarks and stickers and all that kind of fun stuff. So
Like I said, a lot of great stuff at the table. You need to
yeah,
stop by Brad's stuff and grab a book. you're not
Definitely.
going to be disappointed. So,
Well, and this one, since I'm, since it's here in Texas where we are and I can drive to it, that means I'm gonna have my wonderful little table companion with me. I'm gonna have Bob,
oh, very cool.
Bob the skeleton. If you ever see my post on Facebook or anything, for my booth, you usually see Bob kind of hanging out. He's got his Hallmark shirt on, and I usually throw a book in his lap. So,
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
yeah,
Bob's very helpful and he's very cool. So I think I might have a picture of the goat man with Bob, but if not, he will be getting a picture with Bob this year. So
nice.
very cool. Well, again, it's Texas Horror Lit Fest. It's in Irving, Texas at the Irving Convention Center. It is a free event, but if you go down to the links and click on get a ticket, you will be able to enter a drawing, and you also let us know that you're planning on coming. And that helps out the organizers and the people in charge of volunteers and all that stuff. So if you
Yeah,
don't mind, go do that, and hopefully we'll see you all at the event.
yeah. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be a fun one.
Take it easy.
All right, thanks.